Right, MacBook Neo, MacBook Air, this isn't going to fit, MacBook Air. What a time to buy a MacBook. It's an incredible time to buy a MacBook at the moment. However, I think even though the lineup is now very well defined, I think there's some very bad advice out there. I think there's way too many Reddit threads discussing minute spec details that don't matter. There's a lot of guff, guys, talked about the MacBook Neo. Most of it is positive, but there is some ridiculous stuff being spoken about that MacBook, which annoys me, and it does put people off buying it. And equally, some people still think that the Air is the default choice for everyone. And then we have the MacBook Pro, which sits in a class of its own. So if you want the simplest and the most common sense fueled buying guidance ever about a MacBook, this is the video to watch. I promise. Before we get into that, just a very quick word about my newsletter. It hits your inbox every week if you sign up for it, obviously, and it's completely free. You can unsubscribe at any time, no hard feelings, but you do get exclusive content you don't see on this channel and first access to giveaways and all sorts of stuff. The link is down below. Right, let's get into this. These look different because they have D-brand skins on. These were a limited drop 1984 style retro MacBook thing. You can't get them anymore, but D-brand have some fantastic stuff out there. This isn't sponsored by D-brand, but go and check them out. But that's why these look different. Right, we have 3 MacBooks to choose from. The Neo, this is $599 or even less than that if you go for the education discount. It's got the A18 Pro chip, 8 gig of unified memory, 256 gig of storage to start with, and it's the new entry point for the Mac. Then we have the MacBook Air. This has at the moment an M5 chip. It starts at £1,099 or $1,099. It has 16 gig of unified memory, 512 gig of storage, Wi-Fi 7, a better GPU than the Neo, and it also comes in 15-inch. Then we have the MacBook Pro. This starts at $1,699. It has active cooling. It has more ports than the other two. It has a brighter and better display. It's got loads of upgrade options, and it also comes in 16-inch. And what's happened with the release of the Neo is that the Neo has changed the positioning of the 2 laptops above it. And that is what this guide is based on. Who should buy the MacBook Neo? Students, light users, anyone replacing a Chromebook or an older Windows machine. And boy, if you're doing that, I promise you'll be thinking, why haven't I done this sooner? It happens every time I recommend this to someone who's had a Windows machine for years. And to be honest, it's always happened with the Mac. We've always had people go from Windows to the Mac and say, I should have done this ages ago. This is the ultimate version of that. But what I call normal work, so web browsing, email, Slack, video calls, normal stuff, this eats for breakfast. And yes, you can dabble in more exciting stuff. You can do some 4K video editing. You can mess around with Logic Pro if you want to. You can get involved in a bit of coding and that sort of stuff, and Swift and all those things which you might be thinking about doing at some point in the future, but you just want to start as a hobby. You can do that with the MacBook Neo, and you can do more with this than you expect, but you will hit a performance ceiling at some stage, and quicker than the other 2 laptops, because it's not as fast as those other 2 laptops, which are down there, which is why I'm pointing down there. The Neo is the entry level. It's the best everyday Mac ever. And if that appeals to you, get it, but keep watching this video. Now we have the MacBook Air, and I had to write this down because I thought it was quite smart, and I wrote it myself. It's the affordable Pro, got it wrong straight away, it's the affordable Pro MacBook for anyone who doesn't need the MacBook Pro. Just think about that for a minute. It does make sense, I promise. It's more expensive than the MacBook Neo, and the big question is, what do you get for that? Well, you get 16 gig of unified memory, you get the 512 gig of storage, you get Wi-Fi 7, and you get a better GPU. And if you spend a bit more, you can get a bigger one with a bigger screen, and it's just bigger overall. And these M5 in particular, MacBook Airs, will deal with those things that you want to test out on the Neo, but you know you're going to hit a performance ceiling with. So Lightroom editing, editing 4K video for a sustained amount of time, and for something which is going beyond a hobby. Music production, if you want to get a bit fruitier, excuse the weird pun, with Logic Pro, this is better than the Neo. In fact, anything which is considered above and beyond normal laptop usage, excuse the tractor driving past, that does happen all the time when I'm filming these videos, this is going to do better for longer than the MacBook Neo, which is down there. So if you're an entry-level creative, if you're someone who's starting a business that has aspirations to do creative stuff or coding stuff or whatever, and those aspirations will be linked to you making money at some point from those things that you're doing with your laptop, this is the better choice. It's not for you if you consider heavy work to be opening 20 Chrome tabs and then occasionally watching YouTube videos in between, dealing with email and Slack messages and writing stuff. If that's you, the Neo is the laptop to get. So the MacBook Air is no longer the default choice. It's the choice if the MacBook Neo isn't enough for you. And I think making that decision is quite straightforward. Now, I have done a much bigger comparison between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Neo, which includes all of the details that I've not talked about now. We'll put a link to that at the end of this video. But before you get there, there's another MacBook to talk about. It's the MacBook Pro. This is a 14-inch M3 Max version, and this is a 16-inch completely spec'd out M5 Max version, which is about $6,000 and just ridiculous. I tried to break it in a recent video in terms of not throwing things at it physically, throwing tasks at it, and I couldn't make it sweat at all. I made the fans come on, but it was through a very silly, stupid bunch of things that no normal human being would do. Anyway, who is this for? Well, if this is for you, you're possibly not watching this video because I think it's very straightforward. If your job involves intense work, 4K, 6K, 8K video, music production with hundreds of tracks, really heavy LLM AI development that I don't understand, any kind of development actually where you're doing lots of very complex stuff, and the result of those tasks ends with money entering your bank account, and the faster you can do them, the more efficient you are doing them, the quicker that money arrives, and the more of it arrives. This is the laptop, one of them anyway. This is the one for you. I won't go into the details of the specs, but you have so many more upgrade options in terms of the CPU, the GPU, the memory, the storage. It has a much better display than the two laptops I've just talked about, and it's just so fast. The big difference is the fact that it has active cooling. So these laptops have fans in them. Those two down there don't. So you can do sustained hard tasks for longer. You know if that's you, but equally, if you just want the MacBook Pro because it's the best MacBook money can buy, that's fine too. Okay, TLDR, as the kids say. I think the mistake some people make is to go for the Neo when the performance headroom and the longevity they need because of that deserves the Air. The other mistake people make is going for the Air when their daily tasks, their daily laptop stuff is much better suited to this. And then if you need the MacBook Pro, you know you need the MacBook Pro. Equally, if you just want any of these, that's fine too. You don't need a reason, really. And don't believe the Reddit threads that tell you do need a reason to. Don't read Reddit, ever. I think this is so simple now, but you may not agree with me, and equally you might still have questions. If that's the case, get involved down below. I will as well. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, you know what to do.